still a number of parliamentary constituencies to be declared. The presidential winner has been declared by the Electoral Commissioner, and we all know that the next president for the next 4 years is John Mahama. On today's edition of The Situation, we're looking at all the regions or all the constituencies up north, from Savannah, Upper East, Upper West, Northeast, as well as the Northern region. Who won what and what does it look like in terms of the seats in Parliament for the next Parliament, we'll see. We'll be right back. Don't go away. So welcome back to the Situation Room. My name is Vivian Lokko. I'll be the captain of the ship, cruising you through to the northern part of the country, where we'll look at the figures and the seats going to the NDC and the MPP for the 2024 parliamentary elections. In the studio, I have the usual suspect, Samiri Afi. He will be taking us on the dashboard as we look at the flip to the green for these areas. Samir, welcome.
Hello, Vivian.
And joining us today for the first time is a gentleman who covered the Savannah region for us. Later, we'll go to all other reporters who covered the different regions around the north for us as well. But now we have Tajuddin Abdullah. He was in charge of the Savannah region for us for the 2024 elections. Tajuddin, welcome.
Thank you.
How was the trip? When did you return? Today?
I returned this afternoon.
Okay. How was it? It was chaotic at Damongo. I saw you, running all over the place. You were scared, right?
Oh, of course I was. I mean, if you hear gunshots,
what really happened?
Right, so...
and if we can pull, Fred, if we can pull some of the videos for us, I'll be grateful.
Right.
I know I didn't tell you this, but...
So, on the day of election, everything was calm in the morning.
Yeah.
I had visited most of the polling stations, and I reported on that.
Yeah.
There were no pockets of violence, recorded at most of the polling stations. Okay. So voting was smooth, and there was heavy security presence. I mean, you wouldn't have the laxity to misbehave. I mean, if you intended to, and so everything was smooth.
So that means they had an idea for Damongo that there will be some skirmishes. Is that what it is?
Well, you
usually
tell.
Damongo comes with heavy security.
Exactly, but then it's relatively very calm.
Okay. Because
you don't, over the time, if you trace the historical antecedents of how elections have evolved in Damongo, it's largely been peaceful. So there are no issues of confusion recorded here and there. So it was when we got to when the results from the respective police stations were declared, and then we now had to move to the Constituency Coalition Center, was where the confusion erupted. Okay. And so as at 10 p.m. at the District Court Coalition Center, that was when the coalition had begun for the Damongo.
This was on Saturday or on Sunday?
This was on
Saturday,
the Saturday,
the day of the election.
Yes, on the day of the elections. So 10 p.m., that was when coalition had begun. So first, we have 91 polling stations. And what they do is that the EC would have to verify each pink sheet that, from the respective polling stations before the coalition can start. Yeah. And so 10 p.m., coalition had begun. And midway through the coalition, there were a group of, the angry youth had massed up outside the coalition center.
And what were they angry about?
They were angry about the fact that the results was taking too long for the declaration. For the declaration. They say that in 2020, as at 12 midnight, they knew who had won the election relative to parliamentary and presidential. Yeah. And so the delay infuriated them because they thought that there was some skirmishes being perpetrated by the Electoral Commission and members of the NPP. Okay. Right. So they pressed stones at us. They forcefully entered the coalition room, and then thankfully the military presence there stopped.
Prevented any form of
absolutely. So it solved the entire, it calmed down the entire situation, and then we stopped counting the coalition till the next morning. So we're just sitting there.
So you guys didn't leave? You were
we didn't leave. There. Everyone was there. I mean, everyone was there.
At that point, the main candidates, were they there?
They were not there.
They were not.
It was their representatives who were there. And so, in the morning, counting started again at 10 a.m. But then the military had come to see how things, were going and all of that, together with the policemen who were stationed there. In fact, the policemen had been stationed there till the next morning. Like then again with the military, because after the first attempt by the youth to, destabilize the place, they, were around to ensure that there's everything.
So the Korea.
They did. And so the youth then said that they were not enthused about the presence of the military at the collation center. So the military ought to leave. They say that according to the law, that the military personnel are not allowed to be at the collation center. It's the policemen who are allowed to be there.
Yeah, but the police can call for reinforcement.
Yes.
Is that to mean
the police did call for?
Yes,
yes, the police did call for reinforcement.
Okay.
And then the youth still insisted that the military men leave the place, and then left. Just as when they left, an hour after they had left the collation center, and then collation had continued. So we actually continued from where we left off because of the earlier disruption in the on Saturday. We had to pause, and then we continued from where we had collated up to. So an hour after the military had left, then the angry youth barged into the collation center, destroyed the pink sheet, destroyed the ballot boxes that were there. Every material that had to do with the elections was destroyed.
Wow.
In fact, a motorbike was also burnt as a result of the confusion that had erupted. And that was when I saw, gunshots being fired here and there, because one of the youth had rushed to the district commander, the regional commander, police commander, with a stone, attempting to hit him. Yes, with a stone. And then the police started firing, gunshots. And then the military also eventually came. So we all had to run for our lives. It was very chaotic, and it was not a pleasant situation.
At that point, those at the collation center started leaving, including the EC officials and
of course,
the agents of the political parties.
Yes, but I mean, with how the thing started and how they barged entered into the collation center, you didn't expect it. And we didn't see it coming. Yeah. We just saw them, moving to and fro and all of that. And all of a sudden,
they rushed,
and then everything was destroyed. Chairs, machines that were used for the collation were all destroyed. Yeah. And then, in fact, the municipal EC director, he in the course of he trying to escape, fell down, and then the youth, pounced on him, the beat him, and he ran into coma. He went into coma. Yeah,
so he's still in coma. He's better.
No, he's recovering based on my interaction with the regional coalition EC director.
Oh God.
Yeah, so he was rushed to the Damongo Catholic Hospital by the police vehicle, and then subsequent to that, he was transferred to the Tamale Teaching Hospital.
And were these NDC supporters or NDC supporters?
Okay, so you see,
it was a mixture.
It was a mixture. So you're unable to exactly. Exactly, they were all agitated, and so in the morning when I got to the regional coalition center, I asked how the municipal director was doing, and then the regional director told me that he had spoken to him in the morning and then he was recovering, but it wasn't a pleasant sight to behold.
So at that point, the pink sheets had been destroyed,
yes.
the coalition center, furniture, all that, and then what happened? How did we get to the declaration? Right.
So at the regional coalition center, the parties were called. The regional EC director called the parties to come so that they could, there was a RIPAC meeting, a regional inter-party advisory committee meeting that was called to, as it were, agree on what to do, and also for the EC to communicate its position to the respective parties on the way forward, because it was delaying, and then the tension was rife. People kept asking when the results will be out and all of that. And so they needed to have had a meeting to ascertain how they will go about the whole issue. Yeah. So the respective representatives for the parties came. The NPP regional chairman was there, Professor Kalmonia was there, the NDC regional chairman was there together with the secretary lawyer Biaworbi, and the NPP constituency executives, they were also there. And in fact, CPP was there as well. The representative for the CPP was there. And so they signed an undertaking that they were going to collate the results, i.e. presidential and parliamentary, and that they were going to declare the winner for each of the
the presidential and the parliamentary.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that in an instance where a political party is unable to produce all their pink sheets, they would revert to the minister in Accra to take a decision on what to do. And that was the undertaking that was signed at the regional coalition center based on the RIPAC meeting that was held by the EC and the stakeholders.
So the distraction of because in the end they did go ahead and declare.
Yes.
So meaning that the pink sheets for all the three parties, it was intact for them?
No, the NPP had their pink sheet.
Okay.
Strangely, the one who was, manning the sheet for the NPP in terms of the coalition, he managed to vote. He absconded with the pink sheet. So Nobody, he was no.
No, he left. Because if he said absconded, like he stole something.
He left. He left.
So he left with his pink sheets.
Yes, with his pink sheets.
The NDC zone was destroyed.
Partly.
Okay.
I mean, some of them were destroyed, and so they didn't have all.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have all.
What about the EC?
But the EC, they had. You know, when you sign, they will give you the party, your pink sheet, and then the rest of the sheet.
So
the EC. Yes.
So that's what they used to.
Absolutely.
What was left on the NDC, that of the MPP, and then of course the EC.
Yes. Yes, that was what was used for the
So when did the declaration happen? On Sunday, right?
Yes, on Sunday. So the declaration happened when coalition was done. After the right party meeting and parties had agreed that the county should continue and everything. Midway through the coalition, the NDC people left the coalition center. So it was the EC and the MPP folks that, you know.
Was that a boycott?
I can't tell if it was a boycott because I saw them, you know, come in as and when. And then I'll see the secretary and the chairman go out to go and judge and then come in again. But at a point, I didn't see them when they left. They never returned. And so it was just the regional EC director and the MPP folks who were doing the calculation, and the media there to, you know, ensure that there's sanity and
at a point in time, I remember the general secretary of NDC issued a statement asking all their party agents to leave the various coalitions. Could that be the reason?
No. This was before.
It was before.
It was before.
Okay.
It was before the directive from the regional.
Okay. So let's look at the results, and we're interested in Damongo because I think that's the most controversial.
In the Savannah region.
In the Savannah. So I'm going to take us to the dashboard in a bit, but before you get up here, I don't want you to go and stand there for long. What in the end, and you can concentrate on parliamentary.
Yes.
What were the figures?
Okay, so the Abu Jinapo.
First of all, tell us the candidates, the main candidates.
Right. So I mean, the contest was between Abu Jinapo, who is the lands minister, and Adamuta Akilu, who was
okay, Galus.
Galus, you know, that's how he's called, Galus, and you know they call Jinapo Mastagban.
What?
Mastagban.
What does that mean?
He doesn't get tired giving.
Calm down. We don't understand the language, so take your time and say that we can be part of the thing. It's called what?
Mastagban.
Mastagban. Masta in Goja say I give. Like give means sa means give.
Okay.
And Mastagban means I don't get tired giving. So I'm too generous that I give and I don't get tired.
It means I always give.
Oh, so Masagbe.
That's the
I know somebody like that in this house. I think you will change his name to that.
So that's his nickname in Damongo.
Yes, that's Abu Jinapo's nickname.
Okay.
Masagbe.
Because I mean the people say.
How do you spell that?
There's MASA. JBEN.
JBEN. Oh, okay.
Yes, Masagben.
Yes. So I mean, when you see him next time, you know what
I'll do that.
So Abu Jinapo, also known as
Masagben
in the area,
yes.
And then
Adamuta Akilu.
Apart from the Galus, we all know him as. Is there another name?
Oh no.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So these two, Go ahead.
And so. I mean, at the end of coalition, when the regional...
No other party, only the two parties contested.
It's the CPP had, you know...
A candidate.
But he threw his support on the weight of the Adamuta Akilu NDC.
Okay.
So eventually, he wasn't part of the equation at all.
Okay.
So it was left between the NPP and the NDC. And so at the end of polls, when the coalition was done, Abu Jinapo of the NPP had 16,222 votes.
16,222.
And Adamuta Akilu of the NDC had 14,425.
14,425. Okay.
But Vivian, it is also instructive to note that this declaration eventually did not go down well with Adamuta Akilu.
Of course.
He says that he did not sanction the MPP, the NDC secretary and chairman to represent him and to even sign an undertaking on his behalf. Because they are not his party agent and they shouldn't have signed the undertaking during the right party meeting. And so he held a press conference saying that he disagrees with the declaration of the EC. In fact, he's established a 5-member committee to go and meet the regional EC director to discuss the issue, because he said that he never sanctioned the party chairman and party secretary to go and sign the sheet on his behalf. And so that has been the new development over there. I understand this afternoon he'll be having a press conference, and so I'm sure we
can pick it if I mean when they are ready. But this result,
yes.
I mean, you are from the area, you study and you get involved in the politics as well. Is this something you're expecting?
Yes, it's something I expected, but I didn't expect it to, create this, confusion. I mean, over time, if you look at the electoral results that have come in terms of the voting pattern or voter pattern, it's been largely the presidential, the NDC that has won. That usually wins the presidential, and the MPP is sometimes goes here and there, because if you look at from 2004 to 2008, 2012, 16, 2020, and now 2024, the NDC does appear to have occupied majority in terms of the parliamentary representation as compared to the MPP until 2020, when Abu Jinapor came in and took over, and then 2024 as well, even though I mean it's still in quotation. But
so within the was clear from your homework that it was going to go blue for the parliamentary.
It wasn't too clear.
Okay.
Because in fact I interviewed Abu Jinapor when he came to cast his vote at the Town Park polling station, and I asked him that his opponents said they were going to give him a run for his money, and what does he have to say about that? And he admitted that indeed the NDC gave him a run for his money, and he cited an example of the regional executive domiciled in Damongo, and then even President John Mahama coming to Damongo, to President-elect coming to Damongo to campaign for Adam Muta Akilu, and eventually even commissioning a palace that he built for the current Yagmura. And so all of these events were tailored towards getting votes for Adam Muta Akilu and trying to get to the seat from Jinapor. So Jinapor acknowledged the fact that it wasn't an easy run. He acknowledged that.
He suffered some bit of agitation mid-year all the way to the end with the royal.
Yes.
What was the issue? Right.
So I mean, the issue was that they say that he was meddling too much in chieftaincy affairs. Okay. Don't forget that Jinapor himself, he's a prince himself. He's a prince, and his father used to be the Savannah Regional House of Chief, vice president, until the new Yagmura came in, and then there were some changes here and there. And so he's been a very traditional boy. He's a traditional guy, prince, always with his father and all of that. And so they say that he meddles too much in the chieftaincy affairs, i.e. tries to dictate, certain decisions that ought to be allowed to the chiefs to, take and all of that. And in fact, it was heightened when the president, went to Damongo media to see the overlord of the Koja Kingdom, Yagora, Joe Sole, where it's alleged that he was asked, Yagmura was asked to get up and then greet the president. And then there were rumors that Jinapor was the one who the president had sent to go and inform the Yagmura to get up so that he could come and greet him. And that infuriated the people. They say that you are a son of the land, you know how the tradition is over there, and you ought not to have allowed yourself to be pushed to do something that is against the tradition.
But the chief didn't get up.
He didn't. I mean, he did. He
didn't, right?
He didn't. So he told the president that he wasn't going to get up. I mean, if you watch the video, he shook his head and said no. And then even the sub-chiefs that were seated close to the chief indicated that it was not right for the chief to get up and greet the president. And so all of these issues culminated into, he being, a bit being a belligerent in terms of the love that the people have for him and all of that.
But following his win, what has it been like in the constituency? Are the people happy with the outcome?
Well,
especially because we've seen green across the board.
Yes, to be honest, the people, I mean, I would say the MPP people are happy. Obviously, the MPP people are disgruntled because they thought that it should have gone their way, right? But generally, I think that the wind of change was blowing so hard and so heavy because across board, if you look at the constituencies in the Savannah region, I mean, they were all calling for change. And so it was that tough and tight. So the people really, based on my interaction with the people that I got to talk to, really wanted Adam Muta Akilu to win. Because, I mean, generally, if you look at the history again, sometimes when the people get used to you too much, they get tired of you and they want a new face and all of that.
Because Adam had been MP for, how many terms did he? 3?
Who?
Adam Muta Akilu. Two. So he lost to Jinapor
in
2020.
And then, so they was just.
And he remains a very popular person in Damongo.
Very influential.
He was a former DC
in fact,
for the area. So he's a very, your typical local boy. And the belief is that in 2020, Abu Jinapor came in with his influence as a deputy chief of staff. And the resources were available for him. So he more or less used money, in quotes, to unseat gallows. And it was one of the seats a lot of people predicted was one of the artificial seats for the MPP because of the influence of Jinapor then coming as a deputy chief of staff. And so going into this particular election, there was pressure on Abu to either maintain the seat for the MPP and dispel the rumor that it was an artificial seat and he won that seat through resources. But going into this particular election, he was more resourced than previous.
Yes.
And so he had all the resources, you know, at his disposal to ensure that the victory counts. But if you look at the figures, which Tajini will give us, compared to 2020, 2024, there was some vast difference. You know, this year, you realize he's winning by some 2,000 or so. But in the last election...
It was 2,000 plus.
Yeah, 2,000. It was about 2,000. So a lot of people felt that, you know, this was really a top fight for him. And he's been able to win. As Tajudeen said, the nickname they've given him, he's a generous guy. He's a generous guy in the constituency. I've been there, you know, spoken to a number of people, and they can attest.
You went to Damongo thing. We've not sorted that issue out.
I remember about it. I'm a roaming ambassador.
Did you go on a weekend? Yesterday I couldn't answer.
You know, I'm a roaming ambassador.
Okay, so I mean, you can go to the dashboard now. The Savannah has 7 constituencies, right?
Yes.
Now, the region has flipped green, leaving just one seat, which is the Damongo one, to the MPP. So, Sami, take us
so we'll do the Savannah region, which we have here.
Yeah.
So here we go. This is the Savannah region.
Yeah.
7 constituencies, as you mentioned.
That's right.
The Green NDC winning all seats, with the exception of Damongo, which we are just discussing that Abu Jinapo won that particular constituency. So when you look at the data, per the voter registration that was done before the election, total was 342,435, the total registered voters. Yes. You know, at the end of the election, only 221,999 people were able to vote in all 7 constituencies. When you look at the chart here, you realize that the NDC won majority of the seats, which is represented here, and the MPP winning only one, which is the Damongo constituency. But Vivian, if you look at the previous election, which is 2020, MPP managed 3 seats. That was Damongo, I think Salaga South and Daboya. Yes. And then the NDC winning 4 seats, which was Yape Kushegu.
Yape Kosogo.
Yes.
Bole, Salaga South.
Salaga North and then
South.
Okay, sure. But then you realize that in this year's election, NDC managed to take the ones MPP won in 2020 from them, with the exception of the Damongo constituency. Which we are discussing a while ago. So you realize that the NDC in this year's election really dominated. In 2020, they dominated by winning majority of their seat. But this time around, they have stamped their authority in the region by winning the entire Savannah region, just leaving the Damongo, which is the capital of the Savannah region, one of the newly created, you know, regions by the president in 2018, 2019. So this is how the chart looks like. The NDC has dominated in this year's election in the Savannah region, the MPP only surviving the Damongo constituency. And people are saying that if care is not taken, and looking at the gap between Abu Jinapo and Gallows, 2028, NDC may take over, which they have held on all this while. So this is how the data looks like in the Damongo, in the Savannah region, Vivian.
So Savannah is flipping almost all.
Yeah, because you realize, you know, NDC 2, net gain 2, MPP loss gain, net loss, which is 2.
Right. Now, the region itself, you know, it also has a, you remember Hansen, when he came back from the Ashanti region, he told me that some of the issues that we're discussing in Accra in the Ashanti region was very different. The lead up to the elections, what were the issues in the region?
Right. So, I mean, if you come to the Damongo constituency, you know, one of the leading issues and leading problems that they had, you know, with the government has to do with the Damongo water project. Damongo water project. I mean, this is a project that...
But I thought they said, what's his name? Jinapo had gotten... water tanks.
He brought in water tank to be supplied.
You went there.
But I mean, I have had the opportunity to see one of the you know, thing that he's done in terms of, you know, bringing water to the constituency. But it's not something that is sustainable. Because sometimes, you know, especially when in the season that we are in,
And the dry season.
The dry season, so the water does not flow and all of that. They say that they want a permanent solution that has to do with addressing the Damongo water,
What is the challenge?
So the challenge is that the dam that used to serve us, which is the Mama Dam that was built by the former President Mahama's father, and this was in the late 90s, 80s, 90s, about. It's the dam that used to serve us, the community water. And so, and it houses the Damongo Agricultural College. And that's where the treatment plant, is stationed, where the water is treated and is, dispersed, to the community. But then somewhere around 2004, 2005, it ceased working and it went defunct. So it broke down, machines were obsolete, nothing, really was working and all of that. So it became very difficult for people to get water. And most of our dams too were drying up. And so there was no place to get water. It was only one water that was serving us called Pri. And this is en route to St. Anne's Girls Senior High School. And that's a dam that the people of Damongo has survived on for years. And you have water tankers go there to fetch water to come to the community and then sell to the people. And they've lived with this for years. Because the Ghana Water Company, the water barely flows because the rivers are dried. Yeah. And so it became rife. And then the people said that, look, this is a major challenge that we are facing and we want you to not temporary solutions. We want permanent solutions for that. And that was a key issue that the people of Damongo, based on to vote, and then you could see the numbers that, panned out.
I remember in 2020, Vivian, when the president went to Damongo to go and campaign for Abu Jinapa, it was one of the promises the president had made that, they were going to solve this Damongo water challenge, and that if Abu Jinapa is elected as a member of parliament, because he's in government, it will make the facilitation of the project so easily. Yeah. So going into the election in 2020, that was the hopes of a lot of people within the Damongo constituency. Fast forward 2024, the water project has still not been solved, and one of the key issues that the people in there were looking out for, as our brother here has said. And so it was one of the campaign messages Gallows was using against Abu Jinapa and the MPP in the constituency. He himself,
he suffered the loss based on the water thing. I remember at the time. Yeah.
And almost everywhere that you visit within Damongo, you see the Kufo gallons. They are scattered all over the place. You go to even the hospital, I think the West Gonja Municipal Hospital also, yes, you will see these gallons there. Go to the Regional Coordinating Council, you find all these things there. So it was really a challenge for them as far as water issue was concerned. And it is expectation of the residents there that now that he's been given another term, he will do his best to solve this water challenge, because the polytank, transportation of water wasn't really helping the situation at all. It wasn't, because it gets to a time some people will get the water, some others will not also get, and it wasn't like a rationing of water in the area. And when you ration water, the situation. So Abu, the people are giving you a second chance. Use your influence to make sure that the water situation is sorted out
now
for
that
them. His government is not in power.
Then he has to look for
his
private
help. His brother will be in power.
The brother will think of his
brother will be in power.
and that's the issue. So I remember when we were at the collation center, when midway through the counting, the collation, that was when Dr. Bawumia, considered defeat to Mahama, and that escalated the whole thing. And you had members of the NDC massed up because they were jubilating. And they said that, listen, we now have the presidency. And so if you want to insist on being a member of parliament, or if you are declared a member of parliament, at the end of the day, you cannot go to parliament on the ticket of the MPP, and then it's an NDC government in power, and so development will be stalled in a way. Yeah. But I mean, I think that we should, as a people, we should look beyond these things and then have the people's interests at heart, and then ensure that we do what they want.
Okay, Tajudeen, stay with us for a few minutes. We'll come to you, but I want to go to Mohammed M. Alabira. He was our man in charge of the Northeast area, and he'll give us some details as well over that place. Alabira, if you can hear me, welcome to Situation Room.
Thank you very much, boss.
All right. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I am doing well.
I can see that. So a very interesting contest in some of the constituencies that you covered, right? How did it go for you? Which ones were your surprises for the area?
Thank you very much. I covered the Northeastern corridor, that is in the northern region through to Northeast region. And a lot of surprises actually happened. From the Northeastern corridor, I covered from Pandai constituency, Wulensi, Bimbilla, Yendi, Nyang, Saboba, Tatali, and then Zabzugu. That is northern region. Then Gushagu too is there. Then from there to Northeast. And here, the income from Pandai, I want to start from Pandai. Yeah, from Pandai, the incumbent or the former MP and former majority chief whip, Honorable Nyindam, he came back again, beating the incumbent MP for the area. Nsala. Nsala is the name. He beat Daniel Nsala. He beat him. And then Wulensi too. Another interesting thing happened in Wulensi. Well, let me give you the figures for Matthew Nyindam and then Nsala and one down called Eric Nepane. Matthew Nyindam came back. He actually, the first time, it was a surprise for many that he actually lost the 2020 elections. So this time, just, why I say so is that initially Pandai district didn't have a party office and then water to many of the communities.
So this guy is what party? Alaji, this is it Matthew? Which party? The MPP or
Matthew Nyindam, MPP. Okay. MPP, yes.
So that's Matthew he was Nyindam, the incumbent.
MPP, yes. No, he came back. Daniel Nsala is the incumbent of NDC.
Okay, all right.
So NDC won the constituency in 2000 elections.
Okay.
And Matthew Nyindam came back and beat him with 27,947 votes as against 24,213.
Okay. So how did it
that
go?
Is for Daniel Nsala and Matthew Nyindam.
Okay. The win for Matthew, is it based on the wind of change or he did something differently which led to that? Because you said most of you were pretty surprised he was able to take that seat.
Yes. Yes, that is what I'm saying. It was not the win of change because he is MPP. Okay. And he came back and won the seat again. Why I said so is that his touch with the people on the ground was something that, made him win the seat. Because he actually extended electricity to so many communities in the area and also drilled a number of boreholes for them. So the people actually felt that he was their man on the ground. So that was why he actually won the seat for the MPP in Pandai district.
Okay, so he had brought some bit of development.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Sure, he brought development to the people there in the Pandai district. Yes, in the Wulensi district, that is where the interesting thing happened. Wulensi district, MPP fielded Haruna Abdullahi. You know, he's with the telecom, the Vodafone thing. He is with them, and then the incumbent was Abukar Dawuni. Then an independent from the MDC stock came. Boss, one interesting thing here: Abdullahi Haruna, Abukar Dawuni. They were both from the Nanumba tribe. You know, here a tribal politics came in there at the Wulensi side. Mm-hmm. So Haruna Abdullahi and Abukar Dawuni, the incumbent, are both Nanumbes.
Okay.
That Nandaya Yao Stanley is a concomba in the community, and you know here the concomba population here. Okay. So it was assumed that the vote of the Nanumbes divided between Haruna and then Abukar Dawuni. So the independent guy who was coming from the NDC, he actually won. And the votes or the figures were Haruna Abdullahi had 11,137. Then Abukar Dawuni, the incumbent, he had 11,498. Then Nandaya Yao Stanley, the independent guy, he had 17,432 votes. That was what happened.
So then with him,
from there, we came to Bimbilla.
Please hold on for me with the Wulensi. So you're saying that the Wulensi, the win came from the numbers from the Kokomba tribe. That's it.
Yes. The Nandaya Yao Stanley, an independent candidate, he won in Wulensi.
Now, in your, I know that prior to the election,
NDC, MPP.
Yeah, I know that prior to the election you had moved around and all that. Some of these constituencies you had gauged the level of interest or how things would sway. And you knew the numbers in terms of the Kokomba people having more numbers as against the Nanumba side. It didn't hit at that time from your rounds and from discussions you had had with people that this may go towards the independent candidate Stanley.
Yes, that was what from my engagements and things. Even the party, NDC party, because Abukar Dawuni, the incumbent MP, he is from NDC. Even when the president-elect now came to the area to Wulensi, he actually made a comment about it. So the party knew that no, the independent candidate was going to cause trouble for them. Because he actually pleaded with him, the president-elect actually pleaded with him to step down and give way to Abukar Dawuni to continue. But the man could not listen. So he knew that he was going to win. And that was actually what happened.
Why did he go independent?
Abukar Dawuni.
Why did he go independent?
But like I'm saying, interestingly, Wulensi constituency was something very interesting because if you look at the MP party, when Thomas Ogaja, the former MP for the place, when he was a concomba, when he lost the DCE, Abukar Dawuni won and Nanumba. Then the DCE over there was Abukar Yusuf over. He also a Nanumba. So it became obvious that concombers have no position in Wulensi constituency. So just in some few months to the election, the MPP realizing this thing took away the DCE for Wulensi and brought in a concomba DCE who was just for 2 or 3 months as a DCE in the place. So the concombers in the Wulensi constituency felt that no, they have no, stake in anything. Because if you look at the candidates, they were all coming from Nanumba area, and then they have no stake. So the independent guys said no. Then it's good that we also fill. The concombers said no. Then it's good that we also fill an independent candidate who maybe they will all come together to actually vote for him. And this was what actually happened in Wulensi. The concombers actually voted for one of their own in the area.
All right, okay. So we can move to the next area of surprise for you after Wulensi.
The next one was Bimbilla.
Okay.
Bimbilla too, the incumbent MP, Dominic Nitwol, and defense minister. He has been there for a very long time, since 2008 till now, 2009 to date. Yeah, he's been there. And, we did a report about Bimbilla constituency when we were gauging the mood and things. It became obvious that no, even if you come to the constituency on the ground, you will see that no, Nitwol has not done well as compared to other first-time MPs in other areas.
That's like in terms of development. That's in terms of development. Okay.
In terms of development, yes. If you come to Bimbilla, it's just a week to election or something that they come to work on Bimbilla town rules, and that is what has happened. So people were actually angry with him that no, this time if care is not taken, he will go. And the interesting thing is that both the NDC and MPP, they also fielded concomba candidates. Because Nitwol is a concomba, and then the NDC also Roxon, who is also a concomba. So the vote difference or they tried to tell the election was going to come from Bimbilla town. And already Bimbilla town were annoyed, or they were aggrieved with Nitool. So actually in Bimbilla town, they actually voted for Dr. Mambua Roxon. But surprisingly, the Concombers, instead of voting for what's the name, Mambua Roxon, caused the change. Mambua Roxon, to have caused the change, they actually voted for Nitool. This is because they say, as it is said in the language, that if you have a tree by your house, if it does not give you fruit, at least for shade there, you always have the shade to sit under.
Okay.
So they think that if Nitool has the power that he has, and he's not supporting them as concombers, he's still seen there as a concomber man occupying that place. So that was why they actually voted for the concombers. Actually went for him.
Well, what were the figures for him? I'm sure his margin closed up. Can you take us through the figures for Bimbilla?
Yes, the figures for Bimbilla for Dominic Nitool was 34,553. 34,553. Against Mambua Roxon, 29,240.
Okay, that's a close one, isn't it?
Yes, but still on the travel. PPP, that is the Progressive People's Party. They also fielded a Nanumba candidate by name Ataswale. Maybe with this, they thought if the concombers votes were divided between Nitool and Mambua Roxon, Ataswale being a Nanumba, maybe the Nanumbers would have gone for him. So Ataswale, he got 2,381. Then an independent candidate, Bamampong Kamil, he had only 7,050.
He was coming from what stock? Yes. The NDC or the MPP stock? The independent candidate? Or
he was from this thing wasn't clear to me.
Okay. Okay, so in the end, Dominic Nitool, current defense
Dominic
minister,
Nitool won by 34,553 votes.
All right. Okay, so let's move to your next.
From Bimbilla, we go to Yendi.
Yeah, I'm sure Yendi is your favorite place, isn't it?
that is my favorite place. Yes.
That's right. Please carry on.
Yes, Yendi, the incumbent Farouk Aliu Mahama, as he was popularly called, Talk and Do.
Talk and what? Talk and Do. Okay.
They used, that was the name they were calling him, Talk and Do. Yes, but he actually failed this time. He had 30,441 against NDC Abdel Fattah Jofa, the young lawyer. He had 30,770. Then an independent Hussein Abdul Karim Labani, he had 4,325. Yendi, two interesting things happened there. The president in 2019 took the overlord to the Damongo State football field. That he was going to, he took him there, cut a short for the Yendi water project. And 4 years down the line, nothing has happened in Yendi. The people of Yendi still struggle for water.
Wow.
So the people of Yendi, every day, that was their cry, asking that, no, Yendi water project is something that they needed. But no, till we voted, nothing of that sort happened. So it was one of the factors that caused the defeat of NPP Farouk in the constituency there. Aside the national issue which has to do with water, personally, Farouk himself had troubles with almost all the party executives in the constituency.
Well, what kind of troubles?
Yes, yes. One, within the party, the party was not united behind the Farouk. When they went for the contest, It wasn't clear. The primary, sorry. It wasn't clear. He and Abibat Ashani, it was not clear that he actually won because the votes were never counted. So later, it was the party that decided for Farouk, and that actually made people in Yendi to be so annoyed. So it was obvious that the people of the supporters of Abibat Ashani was not in support for him. Again, the independent candidate Hussein Abdel Karim Jofa, actually, what made him to come out from to come for the independent candidature was that it was the disagreement between him and Farouk. He was the assemblyman for the area. He lived in the same area with Farouk. So, and he was a former presiding member for Yendi municipal listen. So when he was going for the next election as the assemblyman, Farouk actually sponsored someone to contest him for the assemblyman position.
Okay.
Luckily, this man won the assemblyman position. And when they came to, till we speak now, Yendi has no presiding member for the municipality.
Wow.
When they went to the assembly, Farouk again allegedly sponsored someone to contest this guy for the presiding membership position. They went twice, they both could not get the vote, so they stepped down. So this guy became annoyed, saying that no, if this is what Farouk is doing to him, because in the last election, there were his supporters. This guy was a supporter of Farouk in the last election. So he said, no, if this is the case this time, then if the party could make you stand against Abibata, then I am also coming as independent. And he actually came as independent. In the end, from the MPP stock, he's coming from the MPP stock. So in the end, he had 4,325 votes. So if these votes were to be added to Farouk, definitely Farouk would have won. But
and also, if you add, I'm sure Abibata's votes as well from her supporters, it would have been good for Farouk as well.
For Farouk, yes, yes. So from there, Miang is another place. You know, previously Miang is an NDC seat.
Yeah.
It was just last 2020 that Musa Abdelaziz Ayaba, the current deputy fisheries minister, he actually won the place for MPP. But this time round, he has also, the NDC has come back for it again. He lost it to Misbah Muhammad Adam. Musa Abdelaziz had 8,066. Okay. As against Misbah Muhammad Adam, who had 20,273. That is for Miang constituency.
How did the win happen? How was he able to win from where you stand?
I can't hear you, sir.
I'm saying that how was he able to win? Yeah, can you hear me now? Hello, Alaji, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you now.
I was saying that for Mio, how did the winner win? What do you think went in the favor of this person to have won that seat?
Thank you. One, a lot of factors here came in. You know, previously, Yendi, Miang, or in Dagong in general, the chieftaincy was one thing that was playing out there. The Abudu and Dani, this thing was something that was very strong in Dagbon, and Miang was not excluded. Musa Abdelaziz Jofa, you know, somehow he's a young guy there, and well, I should not be saying it. Excuse my language. Yes, the issue of MPP were power drunk, arrogance, and things was one thing that one could not take out of the place. The young people felt that no, this guy was so arrogant to them. He wasn't respecting in other way and other things, and they felt that Misbah was someone who is always with them. He's from the constituency, and he always, in the evening like this time, you will see him with the youth and other things. So the youth felt that no, this guy is rather humble than Aziz. So no, because this time after the chieftaincy, no, the chieftaincy issue is dead in Dagon. So that could not play. But it has to do with your personal relationship with the people. And the people felt that yes, Ms. Bao is more closer to them than Aziz.
Okay.
And already Myang was NDC. So why don't we go back for our own?
Okay.
That was why they actually voted for him.
Okay.
Yes. Gushagu. Yes. Gushagu. Yes. Previously, Gushagu was another interesting place to watch, but the expectations of many did not come through. Gushagu, to the internal party, this thing was there. Because within NPP, they were not united in Gushagu. So Mahaman Yusuf Malmale, the NDC candidate, thought that he could leverage on that to take the seat. But unfortunately, Honorable Tampuli still maintained his seat. He won by 30,490 votes, as against 29,000. The range was very close, 29,225 votes. So 29,30,000. Yeah, that was the margin there.
Okay.
And boss, another interesting place, Zabzugu.
Okay.
Where the current deputy chief of staff, Fawaz Aliyu, went against he went on the ticket of MPP against the former MP Umar Alasan Abako. The campaign message for Abako was just that Fawaz was not from the constituency.
Where is Fawaz from?
That he was not. Well, Fawaz says he is from one of the communities in the Zabzugu constituency called Warbagu. But from all things, when they traced everything, people actually said he was never from that place. It was just that maybe he wanted to use the power that he has to come and take the seat from them. Okay. So their main message was that where is he from?
Okay, today we are learning a lot.
Where is he from?
Okay. All right.
Yeah, where is he from? They think that no, Fawaz was not from Zabzugu, so they could not have thrown away their seat. So they actually went back for their own, Umar Alasan Abako. And actually, Zabzugu constituency, that was here. And again, the last election, where the former deputy Northern Regional Minister and current MP, the name is the name that I forgot. Zabzugu, to the last election, they didn't finish counting the votes or collecting the votes over there. The declaration was done somewhere in the night in a room somewhere in Tamale.
Okay.
So the people in Zabzugu were still aggrieved that no, they were stolen.
Okay. That
the results over there were stolen for the John Jebali. John Jebali is the name of the current MP and former deputy Northern Regional Minister. Yes. So
Abako pulled how much against Aliyu? Or is Aliyu?
Abako Fawaz had 15,175. The rate too was very close. Against Abako, 15,508.
Okay. All right. That's pretty close.
And then there was also an independent candidate there, Obore Solomon.
Okay.
He had 5,132 votes.
Okay. And Obore is coming from what stock?
Yes.
Is he coming from
Trabal? He's coming. Trabal. He's a concomba.
Okay.
Fawaz and Abako, they are Dagombes.
All right. So what's the population there? Are the Dagombes more than the other side?
Well, I have not actually looked at that, but the Concombes has a population.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's for Zabzugu.
Yes. For Zabzugu.
Okay.
The next is Tatale Sangule.
Yeah.
Yes. Tatale Sangule, it was a race between the incumbent MP, Thomas Mbomba, And Thomas Mbomba, he is currently the Deputy Minister of Roads. You know, over there too, and infrastructure was something that played out over there. And you know, just a week or 2 weeks to the election, we did a report at Njobilibo community about their school infrastructure there, where it was ripped off some years back, and the MP promised to do something. Till date, it hasn't been done. So infrastructure was something there, and road infrastructure is something that was serious there. And they measured the MP, the current MP's own attitude. Because from Zabzugu, you can get a road to his community, Nahile. The current MP is coming from a community called Nahile.
Okay.
Then from Tatali town is up to the place you get. So because he being the Deputy Minister of Roads, has actually made the two roads, that is from Zabzugu to Nahile and from Nahile to Tatali, very much trouble.
Okay.
Very, very to his community, because I think for his own benefit, the roads there are very good.
Okay.
But from Nahile to Njobilibo community,
Alabira, can you reposition yourself? We have lost audio with you. Okay, so I will.
Okay. To get to the community.
Alaji, if you can go through what you were saying with the Deputy Minister of Roads, we lost you at the point that you said he had done the roads in his community proper.
Yes. Thank you, boss. Yes, I am saying that in his community, actually, I visited the community, and the community actually access roads to the place is very good. From the community, you can move. The road that will take you to Tatali is good. The road that will take you to Zabzugu, that one too is very good, because he is the Deputy Minister. He has made it himself. For his own comfort. So the people were actually looking at that. And in Zabzugu, in Tatali community, there are two major tribes there: the Concombers, and then the what's the name? Oh, the other tribe. They are brothers. They are brothers. They are just like Asantis and Fantis. They both understand each other's language there.
Okay.
Yes, and Thomas Mbomba is coming from the Concomba stock. So he went against Ntebe Ayo Williams of the NDC, who is also coming from the other tribe.
Okay.
So the people felt that no, this guy is not developing them. So in the end, he actually lost by 15,000. He had 15,590 as against Ntebe Ayo Williams 16,459.
Okay.
That is the votes he had. And boss, this is the Northeastern corridor.
Yeah.
The constituencies I covered for the Northeastern corridor.
Okay.
Yes. Then to Northeast region. I don't know if we still have time.
Okay.
To Northeast region.
So Alhaji, me 2 minutes. I need to make money so I can pay you well. So let me take a quick break and get some ads to play, and then I'll come to you. So please stay put. I'll be with you in a bit. It's a situation room. We're looking at the northern part of Ghana, the parliamentary outcome of these areas. We've done the Savannah region. Tajuddin, our man on the Savannah region coverage, is still here with us. We've moved to the Eastern Corridor. We've run through about 7-8 constituencies that we saw quite a number of surprises there. When we come back, we'll take you to the Northeast. Stay with us. We'll be right back. It is a situation room, and this is the Election Bureau. Today we're looking at the northern part of the country, dissecting all the regions that come up to form the northern part. We've done the Savannah region, we've done a bit of the Eastern Corridor. In a bit we'll move to the Upper East region, the Northern region proper, and other parts of the region. And make sure by the time we're done, we've covered all the regions for you to understand the politics and how things panned out and why they did. We still have on the line Mohammed M. Alabira. He's about to take us through the Northeast region, what transpired there, and matters arising. Alhaji, if you can hear me, welcome back.
Thank you, boss.
All right. So, Alaji, very detailed report of the Northern Corridor, taking us through Bimbilla, Wulensi, Yendi, Zabzugu, Ushegu, Pandai, Tatale, among others. Well done. Let's go to the Northeast. Where did you have any surprises?
Yes, boss, thank you very much. Yeah, again, I wanted to say something about the Eastern Corridor. You know, sure. MPP in the all the eight seats that they have currently from the northern region, majority of them are coming from the Eastern Corridor. Okay. And this time around, they have about 6 coming from the Eastern Corridor. That is Bimbilla, Yendi, Zabzugu, Miang, Tatali, and Gushagu. That is, they currently occupied, but this time they have lost 4 and has only 2. That is Bimbilla and Gushagu on the Eastern Corridor. So that is what I forgot and I couldn't add.
Sure, thank you for that.
To Northeast region. But over there, an interesting thing happened over there. If you look at some constituencies there, the wind of change, as you earlier stated, blew over some constituencies, and other side, it was that maybe they were going for their own. If you look at places like Cherpuni, Cherpuni constituency, for instance, actually, it was a surprise to many of the residents there that the current MP, Tahiru Abdul Razak, he actually lost the seat. Okay. And the reason being that actually residents from Cherpuni felt that, no, Razak is one of their own. You know, he was the former GCE and later became the MP, and he was always with them throughout. The 1 month lies out that happened in the area, Razak was actually there to support them in all things. And the people actually thought he could maintain it, but he actually lost the seat. He went with Seidu Alasan Alajo, an NDC person. And this guy, though he's a native from Cherpuni, but he's not resident there. So many of the young guys there actually do not know him as they know Razak. So it was a surprise to many that he was actually being able to beat Razak. And the difference too wasn't that much. Taido Abdul Razak got 16,801 as against Alajo, who had 16,972 votes. Then there was one Eugene. Come up.
Hello, Alabira, we've lost contact with you audio-wise. Can you still hear me? I see you, yes, but you are turning upside down. Right, continue if you can hear me.
Good. Yeah, Kofi Khan Basiru, he had 114 votes out of the total votes.
Your line is breaking again, but I'm looking at our dashboard where Sami is standing now and looking at the figures. The margin was so slim. The win margin was 171 only.
Yes. Very slim, yes.
And you were saying earlier that Razak was well known at DC, and then yes, the other gentleman, that's Seidu, is not really a resident in the area. So what did it for him? Is it the wind of change as well, or something else?
Yes, it was the wind of change. It was the wind of change that did it for him. Right. You know, Cherpuni, the interesting thing I was saying is that if you look at things, Northeast is divided. We have the Mampusi-dominated constituencies, and then the other tribes. They are also for the other constituencies, and Cherpuni is one. You know, Cherpuni is Anufo, that is the Chekosis, and then Konkombes, they occupy Cherpuni. Then we also have Yonyo constituency, and then Bunkurgu constituency. These constituencies, there are no Mampusis there.
Okay.
And Bawumia, a Mampusi man, coming from that region, actually, those areas, because of the wind of change, they actually did not vote for him. But if you look at the Nalergu Gambaga constituency, Yagaba Kubore constituency, and then Wali Wali, his hometown, they actually voted massively for him because those areas are Mampusi dominated communities.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So if you look at Bunkurugu, Solomon Bua, who is the current MP for the area, he actually gathered 17,554 as against Abednego Azuma, who had 18,639. That is for Bunkurugu constituency. You come to Nalergu Gambaga constituency, Mumuni Nuruddin, he had 34,173 for MPP, as against Isufu Seidu, 29,940 for NDC. And so you see the gap, almost about 5,000 or 4,000 there. Then Seidu Sia Karim, he had 318 votes for Nalergu Gambaga constituency.
Okay.
Then Yonyo constituency, we have Liwal Oscar of MPP. He had 9,416 against Alasan Suleimana of NDC, who had 12,014. You know, here, like I said, Yonyo, Yonyo, Bunkpurgu, and then Cherpune, they are non-Mampursi communities.
Okay.
So you see the votes
pattern,
there.
Yeah.
Yes. So you come to Yagaba Kubore, which is Mampursi dominated area. The current what's the name? Sports minister.
Yeah.
Mustafa Yusuf. Mustafa Yusuf, his constituency, he had 18,914 against his contender Sibiri Hamidu, who had 11,385. Then Wali constituency, you know, Wali, like I said, if not because of maybe Bawumia is from the community or that place too. You know, the primaries, they had challenges there.
Yeah.
So that could have affected Dr. Kabiru Mahama. But because of Bawumia factor, he actually did well over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Kabiru had 36,700 as against Abdallah Abubakar, who had 31,401.
Okay.
That is for Wali constituency.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And but I think that is the 6 constituencies. Yes.
Wow. Wow. Very interesting developments in the Eastern Corridor as well as the Northeast region. Thank you so much, Alhaji Mohammed M. Alabira, for that extensive analysis on your area of coverage, and great job over the elections as well. We'll speak to you again later. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll move to the Northern region proper as well as the Upper East region. I have a lady and a gentleman joining us. They were eyes on the ground for those two areas. In the studio, I have Christopher Sima. He covered Upper East for us, returning just this afternoon from the area. How was your flight?
It was a smooth flight, and I think once the election was okay and everyone was happy, things were calm back in the north, because unlike other parts of the country where there have been tensions, the whole north has been relatively peaceful, so it was a smooth flight.
Your brother is coming from a constituency where tables and chairs were flying and gunshots, and he had to hide underneath, you know, a table to protect himself. So good for you. Also on the line via Zoom, we have Shawana Yusuf. She's going to take us through the Northern region proper. Shawana, if you can hear and see me, hello.
Hi, good afternoon, VK.
Okay, so Chris, let me start with Shawana and then I'll end with you. So Shawana, also some interesting areas you covered. You covered 7 constituencies. No, actually, you covered 9 constituencies. 9 constituencies, rather. Which ones were surprises for you, and which ones were, yes, this was going to happen and it's happened?
So generally, we all know that Northern Region actually belongs to the NDC. It's their World Bank, as a lot of people would say. But for me, the surprising one for me was Savulgu constituency.
Okay.
It's quite difficult to have a lady being chosen as a member of parliament. We've had women trying their best so many times, especially if you go to Sanarigu. Felicia has been standing there for so many years, and she doesn't make any gains till now. But if you go to Savulgu, we had a staffer from the office of the president who came to stand there. That's Hajia Fataya Abdul Aziz. And surprising enough, the people voted for her. So for me, as a woman and someone interested in happenings of women, I think that has been a very interesting seat for me, Savulgu constituency especially.
And I can see you are very excited about it. There's sounds of laughter in your voice. But hey, we love the women to excel.
Yes, the whole of the Northern Region, we've not had a woman representing us in Parliament, and having a woman this time around is interesting to know.
So she's made history. Shawana, hang on with that. I'll come to you. I'm interested in that because, you know, like you said, she's a staffer at the presidency. So maybe I feel here. I'm told there's an interesting story into how she even sailed through the primaries and eventually is going to be the MP for Savulgu. So Shawana, don't go yet. I want you to listen to the story and be more excited about what you're happy. So she's made history. First woman to have a seat in the Northern Region caucus of, you know, MPs.
And it was well celebrated by the Jubilee House, especially the president when the results came. You know, she served as an aide to the president. She's been with the president since 2008. She first started as one of her security, you know, like the guys or girl, you want to put it that way. And so she was part of the group of close protection officers who were with the president since 2008, when, you know, the MPP couldn't record a victory in the 2000 election. So from 2012, she was still with the president, serving him, you know, his meals and those things. So during the campaign of 2012,
is that the lady with the hair?
The lady with the sakura hair.
Oh,
the lady, yes, the lady with the sakura hair, like mine.
Oh wow! Then congratulations to her.
Yeah, so she served more or less like.
She actually tastes the president's food if it goes out.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
That was what she's about to say. So on the campaign, anytime the president is supposed to eat, she must taste the food first before it's served to the president.
Met her, yes.
So she, when the president won in 2017, they were like, okay, now there's power. You can't join the security guys anymore, and the structures have changed. So you serve in the president's office. So at least when the president has visitors, you attend to those visitors and ensure that the president day-to-day activity within the secretariat is well managed. So that's what she's been up to. And then when she decided to run for that particular seat, she had informed the president about it. So there were some grounds work, you know, done with her, and they realized that the grounds were very fertile for her to, you know, go and contest. And this is the result we are seeing.
Oh, I like this story. So Shawana, you can take over from there. So her closest contender was who? And if you can take us through the figures.
Okay, so in the Savulgu constituency, we had the NDC Abdullahi Jacob, who happens to be the incumbent, polling 24,877 votes. And the person who emerged victorious happened to be the candidate for the NPP, Abdulaziz Fataya, who polled 27,450 votes.
Okay, so she did pretty well, winning by some about 2,000 to 3,000 votes. Not bad, right?
Exactly. And I mean, for me, I felt the people of Sanarigu were not too fair to Felicia, because I mean, Felicia has been in the picture for the past 3 elections, and this time around,
so Shawana, for those who don't know who Felicia is, if you can tell her who she is and which party she belongs to.
Felicia belongs to the NPP, and she stood for the Sanarigu constituency under the ticket of the NPP. I mean, she came out since 2016, 2020, and this time around she came out again to contest. She's been battling with ABA Fuseni all this while. This time around, she went with a new face who happens to be Ataisa under the ticket of the NDC. And the people of Sanarigu, surprisingly, gave it to this new candidate. I mean, what I am picking on the grounds is that, okay, so let me give you the figures first.
Yes, please.
Felicia Tete, under the NPP, polled 15,338 votes, and Ataisa, under the ticket of the NDC, had 44,530.
Wow.
That was a huge margin.
Yeah.
I mean, and what I am picking on the grounds is that it looked like Felicia was tired with the people, though she wanted to give it a try to see if they were going to give her the nod this time round. What I picked was that this time round, when she goes on any campaign trail, what she tells the people is that, see, I am waiting to see what you people would do for me after all these past years, the development I have brought into the constituency. Though I am not in the House of Parliament yet, I brought a lot of development, talk about boreholes, talk about schools, talk about helping women to start business and all that. But according to her, she's not had any results in the past years. So this time around, she's not doing anything. She wants to wait to see what they will do for her, because she's tired of spending on the people and not getting results. And this was how the people were able to pay her back. And for me, I feel Sanarugu did not do too well to Felicia, and they rather gave it to a new candidate. For some of them, they tell you that they don't ever see a woman ruling them.
Yeah, and then based on the history of the region where we are now seeing a woman for the first time, it appears having a woman as MP is really a no-no from the historical, background we have, isn't it?
From where we are coming from culturally, they don't even allow a woman to be in front for men to follow. So for me, it will be a big thing to have women, represent us in the House of Parliament. But this year round, or this time round, I think Sanarugu is not just prepared. And it feels like Felicia would have to re-strategize to see how best she's going to have to break through this particular cultural norm, especially that doesn't allow women to want to lead the masses in issues of this nature.
Okay, let's go to the next constituency that got your attention.
And for me, the next constituency will be Tamale North. Suhuyini, our colleague in the media space, Suhuyini's constituency was quite interesting. We have a new face competing with Suhuyini. Tamale North happens to be the constituency that always has a member of parliament in opposition. So if they have a member of parliament under the ticket of NDC, the government is not NDC, or the sitting president will definitely not be NDC. So this time around, it's actually an exciting news for the people in Tamale North, having Suhuyini under the ticket of the NDC polling 26,500, Suhuyini polling 28,521 votes. And then his closest contender under the ticket of the NDC having about 12,317 votes. And also having John Dramani Mahama coming into office again at the same time. For them, they think this is going to be, a time for them to reap what they have always been sowing in the past and not getting results. Whenever they have a member of parliament under the ticket of NDC, which is mostly the case, they don't have the sitting president being from the same party. Hence, they don't get the needed development. So this time around, they are saying they are so excited, and for them, they feel Suhuyini actually did so well, though his government was not in power. He still tried to bring development to the people.
Because if you look at the results, 28,000 against 12,000, that was no contest for Suhuyini, because that's a huge, margin.
Exactly. And if you go to the Nanton constituency, the certain MP lost his bid to a new candidate. We have Hadi Tuferu happened to be the deputy agric minister under the ticket of the NPP, who polled 14,506 votes. And that wasn't a competition enough for his contender under the ticket of the NDC, who happens to be a new candidate. Dr. Mohammed Sharif Halek, under the ticket of the NDC, polled 17,077 votes. And for a new candidate breaking through this match and even overtaking the sitting MP meant that the people were tired for them, they thought development was a no-no for them. The road leading from Tamale town to even Nanton is a no-no. Okay. It's something you really cannot, be happy about. And the people really wanted a change to see how development would also improve in the area should they give another person the nod to rule them. And this is what they have decided. The NDC actually has it this time round, and they are hoping that things are going to change for the better for them in that particular constituency.
Okay, so Nanton went green. Okay, which other ones? You are left with Tamale South, Tamale Central, Tolong, as well as Karaga and Kumbungu.
So, VK, if you come to Tamale South, usually Tamale South is not a constituency that needs to be discussed, if you ask me, because the former minority leader who happens to be the member of parliament of the area. What I am picking on the grounds is that until Haruna says he is not going again, he's safe. There is no way there is going to be a change. So that seat happens to be a safe ground for the NDC. This time around, Haruna Idrisu polled 20,000. No, I take it again. Haruna Idrisu polled 67,018 votes. And then his closest contender under the ticket of the NPP, who happens to be Alhaji Hussein Musa, polled 20,974 votes. So you can imagine the difference between this particular candidates in the Tamale South constituency.
Okay, yeah.
Tamale Central also. Tamale Central also, where we have the mayor, the sitting mayor of Tamale, competing with the member of parliament, Ibrahim Mutala. The mayor of Tamale was able to garner 16,647 votes, and then Ibrahim Mutala of the NDC polled 52,263 votes.
All right. Okay. Tolon, Kumbungu, and Karaga. Karaga, that's the constituency of the finance minister. Earlier, there were initial reports that he had lost, and then it came out that he had won that seat. Was it even a contest to start with there?
Well, for me, I think it is. I mean, having the finance minister giving his closest contender a gap of about 6,000 is quite interesting. Because I was thinking the gap would have rather been more bigger than what we witnessed this time around. The finance minister polled 27,315 votes in this year's election, and his closest contender under the ticket of the NDC, Alhassan Swalihu Dandawa, had 21,993 votes. So, I mean, for me, I was thinking the wind of change in a way wanted to blow in Karaga, but I mean, for some one or two reasons, it didn't blow, which we are yet to find out why it did not blow. But I feel if that seat is not well protected, we might be seeing changes coming the next election if they don't do something about it. It looks more like the people in northern Ghana are getting fed up with the way things are being done here. Last minute developments, they wait till the very last months, not even the last year. They just wait till the very last months of the year, and then they start bringing up developments into the constituencies. And the people feel, are you now coming to deceive me or what? I mean, they feel they could have done better in the previous years than just waiting for the few months left to election for them to bring development to their doorsteps.
All right. Shawana Yusuf, thank you so much. Another detailed report of Northern Region proper by a correspondent there who took us through the election as well for the 2024 election. Shawana Yusuf, thank you very much. We'll wrap up with the Upper East region, and in the studio I have Christopher Sime. Sami, get ready with all your boards. You take us to what it looks like before we go. But Christopher, Shawana says in the Northern Region proper, for example, they wait till December before they make any effort at infrastructural development or whatever it is. Is it the same with the Upper East, or that one was much, much better?
Upper East in general, you would see more of that happening. Okay. On my way, when I was entering Bolga, which is the gateway to the Upper East region, I saw a lot of roads being worked on, and I was surprised because this was like 2-3 days to election, and I saw heavy duty equipment working on roads that we know are very bad in the municipality. But if you look at some of the candidates that the New Patriotic Party presented, mind you, the Upper East region since 1996 has largely given its votes to the NDC. In 1996, they won all the seats. Again, in 2024, they've won all 15 out of 15 of the seats in the Upper East region. And even the years that the other parties try, they may just win 1 seat, 2 seats, sometimes the PNC and the CPP. So largely people say the Upper East is an NDC area or an umbrella area, but the NPP has won most of these seats. So it is possible other parties or the New Patriotic Party can win majority of the seats, because out of the 15 constituencies, the NPP, even though have not maintained it more frequently, but has won almost all the seats before. They've tried and won 1 or 2 before. So it's possible they can really win these seats. But the candidates were very strong. If I say they were very strong, for example, we have the chief executive of the Maritime Authority, Ghana Maritime Authority, who was a candidate for the New Patriotic Party in the Bulsa South. Bulsa North, and he was going against James Agalga. So this is somebody who was on the ground and putting in all the infrastructure that people needed.
Last minute.
And you see, these are, excuse me to say, more remote areas in the region. So their needs are basically water, if you get a borehole dug, sanitation-wise, maybe you get a toilet somewhere for the people. Their needs are such that even without government, individuals can sometimes meet some of their basic needs, and he was on the ground. So these are things you were putting up there. If you see, for Tempani example, the former Deputy Minister, Deputy Attorney General, Kwenka, was there. Now he's the Deputy Chief Executive for BOSS. He was also on the ground, and this is somebody who has been in the race, and he won the seat for the first time when the Tempani constituency was created. And then he lost to Ladi,
the wife
of the former MP, and Ladi came back, and this time, not only did she beat him, but the gap was huge. And this is somebody who was also on the ground, giving the people what they need. So at the last minute, the politicians came and were solving the problems of the people. But for the NPP candidates, the problem was the NDC had already campaigned that they do not have their mother in the kitchen. And mostly when they say this in the North, it means they don't have government. So Isaac Adongo, for example, in Bolga Central, will tell you that ever since he became MP, the NDC has not had a presidency. He came at a time when Nana Akufo-Addo won. So he's not able to deliver because he needs a president who will understand him and his needs. So this was the campaign NDC had put out largely across the Upper East region. So it made whoever was contesting on the ticket of the NPP, that means your mother is in the kitchen. So why are you not able to get them to give us the basic needs we want? So it was a very difficult campaign for the New Patriotic Party candidate, because you are in government. You may not be the sitting MP, but you have access to government. So
what
give
have
us,
you done?
Give us what we need. So they were compelled to either force government to do something or do something themselves, because that's what you're going to be asked when you meet the people. So a lot of works were in each of the 15 constituencies. There were ongoing developmental works, projects, deliverables. And that is why you see that in some constituencies, once the EC had announced the new president, people were taking over places because they knew that there were resources, but the resources they were not getting down to the people. And they knew where these resources were kept. So let's go get it for ourselves.
So move there. Okay. Let's look at the places that, with the resources last minute, it made an impact. And then we'll move to the surprise areas and the ones that the people punished them despite the so-called resources they brought. Who was able to keep their seats? Anybody?
Yes. So we all know the Honorable Isaac Adongo, who is the Member of Parliament for Bolga Central. And Vicky, he did what people were expecting him to do, even though the New Patriotic Party really went in strong with their candidate. And it was funny because the New Patriotic Party candidate, who was also a former secretary of the New Patriotic Party in the region, you would see him constructing roads. And someone would be like, but where does he get these resources?
His mother is not in the kitchen, so how come?
But his mother is in the kitchen, but he's not the MP. But he had resources to even construct roads. So people questioned all these things. But the Honorable Isaac Adongo has always argued that he came into office when the NDC was out, so they should keep trusting that when the NDC comes, he will deliver. So if, for example, if you look at Bolga Central, the MPP candidate 470
Okay.
And then you would find Honorable Isaac Adongo getting 35,101. So that means that the people are giving him the chance one more time. This is his third term, and they expect that maybe this time, well, John Dramani Mahama is president, we'll see what he will deliver. But if you look at the presidential vote, in Bolga Central, even though the candidate had 15,000, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia had 10,000.
Oh.
So maybe they voted for the candidate, but when it came to the presidential, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's vote dropped because he had 10,405 compared to the parliamentary candidate who got 15,000. And again, for John Dramani Mahama, when Isaac Adongo got 35,000, he was also getting 39,000. So the NDC maintained their voters to vote both presidential and parliamentary. Now you go to Bolga East, Dominic Ayine, Member of Parliament, and he too had a strong contest from a gentleman who has been on the campaign since the MPP opened nomination. He has been in the constituency, he is with the people. I engaged him and he talked about how many boreholes he has drilled across Bolga East. And sometimes they just know what the people want. They want access to basic amenities. And if you can provide some of these things, why not? So he was on the ground providing all these facilities to the people. So even the NDC in the region was scared of that seat because people said, well, Dominic Ayine has gone more than 3 times and he's going again. The people are tired, and then this is a candidate who has the resources, and he's a businessman, he has his own resources, and he was giving it out to the people. And the latter part, you would hear in some places, Dominic Ayine will say, don't worry, he doesn't understand politics. I'll show him politics and all that.
There were any reports that
the
point is that Dominic Ayine was campaigning more than usual because he felt that his seat was really under threat. Because there was a time he wanted to speak to him on Eyewitness, and he said, "Charlie, guys, I'm on the ground campaigning, so can we do this another time?" But it was unusual for him to hear that he's on the ground campaigning. It then tells you that he had a run for his money, and if care was not taken,
he'll lose it.
He may want.
But he did well. He did twice well. He did
pretty well, yeah.
And he really gave it a good run because everyone in the region is shocked about that results because Matthew was really giving him a good run.
Yeah.
And everyone felt that the Bolga East was going to flip blue because Matthew had campaigned to the extent that he campaigned all over and into Bolga Central.
Wow.
It means he was done with East.
He was now moving to Central.
Also,
to still gather more votes for East. So it also brought Dominic Ayine on the 6th of December to campaign in Bolga Central.
Oh, wow.
Urging people to look for places where people who hail from the East but are living and working around Central just to speak to them. He had to work overnight. So that vote is out of hard work.
But I'm looking at the figures, Sami, take us through the figures. At the end of the day...
So at the end of the day, Matthew Salas Amwa, 7,415. Dominic Ayine, former Deputy Attorney General, 12,002, representing 61.05%. He was declared a winner. The MPP's gentleman had only 37.72%. The margin was 4,587. 4,587. Registered voters, 26,194. Total votes cast, 19,660. So these were the figures as released by the Electoral Commission. The margin between the two candidates, Dominic and Amwa, 4,587 votes.
Now this Amwa, is he from the area?
Is he from the area? So the name Amwa.
Yes, so it's not Amwa. It's pronounced Amwa. Amwa. Okay. It's a Frafra name, Amwa.
But not the account spelling.
Not the account spelling.
Okay.
So it's Silas Amwa.
Okay.
Amwa and Amwa.
Okay.
So he's from the place and he's been a businessman who is based outside the country. He comes home, he does his business. But the New Patriotic Party giving him the chance, he has decided to settle there and run his campaign throughout. So he has been on the ground more than Dominic Ayine, and he just told people that that was not how we play politics. So he'll come last minute. And they spend. So while Silas had started spending far earlier, years ago,
you run out of cash.
Now, when the campaign became heated and Dominic Ayine stepped in and was pushing, he couldn't catch up.
Yeah.
And that was the game. Forget of what you said, the messages, last minute goodies that were sent, you can't catch up. last-minute campaign resources, you don't have enough. Wow. So, for example, campaigns where they will go speak to the people and maybe give 2,000, Dominic doubles it 4,000, 3,000.
Hey, you are giving 2,000 cities or 200 cities
for the people who got it. So you can't catch up because you've already spent. So for Silas, he did a good job, and that was one of the seats the New Patriotic Party ticked to win in this election, and he really spent. But last-minute spending, he couldn't catch up. Look at the presidential results. Bolga East, when Silas was getting 7,000, Bawumia got 4,000.
Wow.
And Dominic Ayena, whilst he was getting his 12,000, he gave John Mahama 14,000.
Okay.
And if you see Bolga East and Bolga Central, people call them brothers. And if you see Dominic Ayena and Isaac Adongo, they're always close together. They know how to work their game. So the two of them, actually, they took the Bolga area, that is Bolga East and Bolga Central, and flipped it NDC. Now let's go to Boko. Interestingly, a lot of people had fears about maybe because of the conflict. Would people even vote?
Yeah, would people vote? Yeah, because it was scary.
So I was in the Garu area, and there was a route that could easily enter Boko. It was just like a 5 minutes drive from Garu to Boko. So I said, okay, let me just spy around. And when I entered Boko, plenty of people were gathered under the Baobab tree voting. And I realized that, well, thanks to the efforts of the candidates, the presidential candidates, and then the parliamentary candidates, I'm told there was a request made to the Inspector General of Police that for Boko, the military should be allowed at the polling station. So when you go to every polling station in Boko, you would see at least 2 military men and maybe a fire personnel, or 2 military men, a police, 2 military men. So the military were constant everywhere. At every polling station, there were 2. And the people came out in their numbers and voted. So it gave me that assurance that Boko would be peaceful. So I decided to then tour the whole Boko. What happened is it was a very quiet place. People were not seen walking around, apart from the polling stations where you see people gathered and voting. And the collation made me scared because when we started collating some of the results, you would see the NDC leading. And for example, you see a place where the NDC has 1,000 votes, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia 4. Then I began to wonder what's going on here. Then again, I realized the conflict. You know, this was an area that MPP could not campaign in the Boko zone months to the election when this conflict started. The Boko Naba had warned that anybody who associated with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his party would be attacked. So MPP candidates could not campaign in this area. There were no MPP activities or anything associating with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia or his party. So I was like, okay, then maybe that's why the candidates couldn't campaign. But again, another twist is, Vivian, people were scared when they were voting in Boko. You saw the process peacefully, but people were warned, even MPP, constituency, and regional executives. We don't mind, that's your party, but if you vote for that party in this polling station, you know what's going to come.
So as you are voting, you don't know whether they're saying who you're, and then deal with you after.
And that's why when we come to collation, I'll tell you, a lot of errors happen at the regional collation center. Why? Some of the EC officials were filling the forms under duress.
Wow.
It was late, and people were policing whatever they were doing. So when the Boko results came, for example, Boko Central, Mahama Yariga.
Yeah, because look at the results here. 25,000 and just 3,000.
Yeah. This is.
And that's interesting. So the Mampugu part in Boko voted for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. The Kosasi part in Boko voted for John Mahama. But the interesting thing is the numbers. And how many of the Mampugu communities were able to be whipped up to come out and vote. Because the Boko conflict, the Kosasis have always said that when the NDC is in power, they are able to have peace. So they were able to whip up all those people to come out for the sake of peace. So they went heavily, and Mahama Yariga, also being a candidate, also went heavy. And look at the margin he gave his opponent. And Mahama Yariga getting 25,350 and giving his opponent 3,000.
Yeah.
Then again, presidential, John Dramani Mahama gets 26,000. Again, if you see Mahama Yariga's vote and Mahama's vote, Mahama Yariga got 25,000. John Mahama got 26,000. Now, the parliamentary candidates, Paul gets 3,000. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia gets 13,000.
Oh, that's good. That's
I mean,
good.
so like 10,000 gap.
10,000
like a 10,000
So
gap,
you see, the Mampugu factor came to vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Yeah.
But when it came to the parliamentary candidate, the candidate being the Kusa, the Mampugus would not vote for you, even though you are for the NPP.
Yeah.
So the conflict has had a very negative tone on the whole Boko politics. That is why the candidate got 3, but his presidential candidate got
Because
and 3,000 and then 10,000.
If you look at all the narration from the northern side, it looks like tribal politics is very important. Is big in that part of the country.
Yes, it is
because
big.
from the reports
Shawana
gave,
Alaji
gave, from what Tajuddin gave, and what Christopher is giving. Tribal politics is big in the northern part of the country.
So, Sameh, where you, the candidate, you think that you go with your party, at least if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is getting about 13,000 votes, you should be looking at maybe 5 or 7. But you get 3 because you are getting a quarter of your tribe.
Yeah.
The other tribe won't vote for you because they have a problem with your tribe.
Yeah.
And then your tribe wouldn't all vote for you because your tribe is already going NDC.
Yeah.
So that's how
Paul suffered.
Difficult one.
And that's a win for Mahama Ayariga. He has solidified
so
his
then that means Ayariga will be safe for a very
long time. And this is a place that Honorable Hawa Yakubu started. And it's surprised to see that NPP has gone so low.
I think after Hawa, the only person who was able to win this was Adamu Sakande. Yes, that was around 2004, 2008 thereof.
And Hawa's ethnicity?
She's a Kusa.
Okay. Yes. So it means that the because Hawa's personality was something else. One of the greatest politicians, female politicians we've seen in the history of Ghana. So that played a huge role, right?
Yes. And you see, Mahama Ayariga is loved in the area.
Okay.
So even in the 2020 elections, when he was not well during the campaign season, he had to come out last minute to campaign. He still won.
Yeah.
And he has always been an advocate for peace in the area. So when it comes to Boko, he's their hero. They see him to be the one speaking for them, advocating for them. Yeah. So that is a big challenge for whoever is going to contest that area. And this time the NPP felt like, let's play an equal tribal card. When the NDC bring a Kusa, let's also pitch a Kusas, but that didn't work.
It didn't work. So
this NPP candidate is a Kusas.
Yes.
And he got 3,000. Yes. And his boss, who is Mamprusi, got 10,000.
Yes. Because the Mamprusi voters would vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but they wouldn't vote for you because you're not their tribe mate. Yeah. But the NDC went all out for Mahama Ayariga and John Dramani Mahama. Still in the same enclave, because when you talk about the Boko area, that's about the 6 districts that make that kingdom or that territory. You go to Binduri, that was another interesting place where Deputy Minister for Local Government, Abanga, who was also Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, he contested in this area. And this is a Deputy Minister for Works and Housing for the first 4 years, Deputy Minister for Local Government the next 4 years. He was on the ground, toilets, schools.
From day one or last minute?
From day one.
Okay.
As for him, the NPP had also tipped that he was going to win because this man has put in everything. All the candidates who have come in that constituency, nobody could match him in terms of his developmental work. But trust me,
look at his fate.
Yes, the Boko conflict is very clear. Don't associate with the NPP. So if you see him, he has suffered it just like the NPP candidate in Boko Central. He has worked, you go around the area there, he has put up an AstroTurf park, he has hospitals to his name, chips compounds to his names, he has schools to his name, and roads, works, and they still voted him out.
Is he a first time?
So this is his second time. He came, he defeated the former Upper East Regional Minister, who was the MP before. He was the MP during the Kufuor administration, and he took over the seat, and then this is his comeback that they've shown him an exit.
Oh, but that's not fair. I don't think.
Because looking at the kind of development you've mentioned that he's brought to the area, the development speaks for itself, and obviously he must be rewarded for these developments.
So in his case, he would have been rewarded because the NDC candidate is a fresher. This is his first time. So people do not know the NDC candidate that much. But the party,
to be on the safer side,
the party, and these are areas that constituency chairman, earlier on we had social media videos that they had campaigned for skirt and blouse. Even the constituency chairman advises people, vote for my candidate, but just presidential, go for Mahama. So they were not stable in their campaign because they couldn't go all blue. Vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, vote Abanga. No. They were struggling with their campaign, and despite all the hard work, Abanga saw the 7,811 against 12,943 for the NDC candidates.
It's not only affecting development, it's affecting politics too.
And if you look at the presidential too, Sameh, it's interesting. Look at Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's vote. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia got 2,000.
2,000? Out of our voting population of
2,067. and John Dramani Mahama got 26,000.
Oh, dear.
2,000 against 26,000.
That's a whip.
Out of 30,000 plus voters. So the conflict has really hit that area hard. But let's move to another area, Garu. So after Binduri, you move to Garu, and you'll be surprised. I got to Garu, and when I was about leaving, we had the parliamentary candidate complaining that her agents cannot even go to certain places because those territories.
Parliamentary
Garu parliamentary candidate for the New Patriotic
NPP,
Party,
okay.
And they too had freshers. So the NDC candidate was coming for the first time. The NPP candidate was coming for the first time because the NDC candidate who won in the previous election was voted out during the primaries. So this was a new face coming to also contest. So they were all fresh and they were going to contest. She complained to the media that her agents cannot go to certain parts of Garu because the agents are COSATs and those parts belong to Mamprusi areas. So how do agents who are COSATs go to police your vote there?
The other side.
If the party even wanted to work with people there, the threat is already out there. Don't associate. So it was difficult for candidates in this area, and this is also part of the Boko enclave. So you saw that whilst the Madam Ladi was getting 7,936, the NDC candidate got 17,832. And again, presidential, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia got 3,720, whilst John Dramani Mahama got 20,610.
But that's not fair.
Let's leave the Boko enclave for a while. Let's go to Bulsa South, where we have known faces there, Bulsa South and Bulsa North.
So Bulsa South.
Yes. Bulsa South, we have Daniel Gariba, who is the district chief executive, who has contested the seat. This is his third time. And he has always gone against Clement Abbas Apak.
Yeah.
And this is somebody that Clement Apak was all over the ground saying he's buying vote, he's campaigning and hoarding. He had all kinds of accusations that the man was doing A, B, C, D. So people thought that maybe Apak was going to lose because he was crying foul everywhere. But then again, this is Bulsa South. And this is the man on the ground with the people every day. The 8 years he has been DCE. So he has brought development to people's doors. But still, the NDC factor there came out.
And don't you think the voter turnout could also be a factor? Because if you have a voter population of 21,000 and only 15,000 show up.
Yes.
And look at the gap. Almost 7,000 people refused to vote.
Yes.
Imagine if these 7,000 people had joined him. There may be an upset there.
So when we spoke to the candidate after the election, he blamed the voter apathy and said his people didn't turn out for him. But the question is, those who didn't turn out, how do you justify whether they are NDCs or MPP? But he says that's his problem. But the question is, you've lost it 3 times. So where are you coming from making this argument of your people? You've lost it 3 times. And again, you look at that same area, presidential, whilst Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia got 4,531, John Mahama had 10,540.
Okay.
So the NDC had really just taken over the whole Upper East region and given the NPP a tough run in terms of the gap. Then again, you move to Bongo. Bongo was not a contest. Bongo was not a contest.
Edward Bauer wasn't going again.
Yes, he wasn't going again.
He lost the primaries.
And there's the thing about Bongo. Before Edward Bauer was Alberta Bongo. And Alberta Bongo won the place until he wasn't going again. Give it to Edward Bauer wasn't going again, and Charles Bauer took over. Now,
are they related?
No. Now, lawyer Charles Bauer and Dinah's contest was interesting because this is an MPP candidate who has contested 2016. It is 2020 that she didn't contest. But before 2016 and 2012, she was the candidate for MPP. It is 2020 that the NPP communication director, Peter Imbisa, defeated her and contested and also lost. So coming back to face Charles Bauer, people thought that this is Dinah who knows the grounds more than anyone. But still she lost 9,500.
But in 2020, the former DCE for the area contested. Yes. Because I remember
that's Peter Yimbisa.
I remember went to that particular constituency to do constituency watch. He was then the MPP's parliamentary candidate.
Yes.
In that
who was also the district chief executive.
Yes, he was the DCE at that time.
But he lost. And then this woman took over, and people felt like this is a woman who has been there 2012, 2016. She only lost to Peter, and she's back. Charles is coming for the first time. What could Charles do? But look at the margin. Charles, 30,000. Okay. 114, Dinah 9,000.
Okay. We have to be wrapping up now. Any other?
Yes, so let's look at Bulsanov.
Okay.
Agalga's place. And you would see the chief executive of the Maritime Authority come in there, 10,000 for Bulsanov, 10,157.
Not bad.
But Agalga, 13,000. And he actually gave Agalga a good run.
Yeah.
And this is his first time, so maybe people are hoping that he will come back again. Interestingly, the whole region went green. And some of the things that I noticed was the NDC had a game plan. Most of the police stations had lawyers. Collation Center, we were at the Collation Center for 3 days. All these 3 days, the NDC had their legal team seated, they had their technical team seated. The NPP technical team only came to the Collation Center when the EC was about to declare. For the 3 days we were there, they had just not showed up.
Maybe they knew their fate.
But maybe they could just show up to give their people the morale they needed. And then you would also find out that there were no celebrations, jubilations that much, because it's like people already knew that they were going to win. So they didn't really have an interest in it. They had already planned to give their support to the NPP. And I think it was peaceful. Even Boko, that we thought there would be some issues, it was peaceful. And they've turned the whole place green.
All right, Chris Sasimi, also great analysis from you as well. This is where we end the show. Our time is up. I want to say thank you to Tajuddin Abdullahi, taking us through the Savannah region. Chris Asima, taking us to the Upper East region. And then joining us via Zoom, we had Shawana Yusuf taking us through the Northern region. And then Mohammed El Alabira taking us through the Northeast and the other part of the Eastern corridor of the northern side of the Republic of Ghana. Also helping me go through the dashboard and the numbers was Samiria Faye. And then my name is Vivian Lokko. We'll see you tomorrow as we wrap up Situation Room. We'll bring you something bigger, better. You'll love it tomorrow. You'll want to join us tomorrow. See you. Bye-bye.